Aston Villa have agreed a price of up to £65 million, including add-ons, to sign Chelsea striker Nicolas Jackson. Marc Guiu to Napoli is becoming advanced with a slight gap in the valuation at the moment, but there is hope. Chelsea are looking to sign 18-year-old Italian centre-back talent Honest Ahanor, but also want to loan him out to another Premier League club straight away. And Liam Delap has departed, and we take a little look at Chelsea's final words to Liam Delap and Liam Delap's final word to the Chelsea fans. Welcome, Blue Believers, to another episode of the Stamford Sync, where we are syncing up with everything Chelsea FC. And there are literal days left before the end of the transfer window, but it does look like this absolutely enormous amount of players we've got to shift are getting shifted. So let's have a little look at what's going on in the world of Chelsea today, starting with Nicolas Jackson. David Ornstein reported that Aston Villa strike agreement with Chelsea to sign Nicolas Jackson. Deal for 25-year-old striker worth 47.5 mil plus 17.5 million add-ons for maximum package of 65 mil. Personal terms in process of being finalised ahead of Senegal international moving from CFC to Aston Villa. So we did it. We got 65 million for Nicolas Jackson, and this is just crazy. Like, this is we're going to get into him a little bit later, but this is what I find weird about the Liam Delap thing, right? It's how are we getting 50 mil for Liam Delap, but only 65 for Nicolas Jackson? I mean, there definitely seems to feel a slight element of greasing the wheels, right, for the Morgan Rogers deal in this, and ultimately, it's interesting that Aston Villa have gone in with, for this so soon, bearing in mind there's the 45-day thing, and they are at risk of potentially losing a lot of the profit they made from the Morgan Rogers deal, especially bearing in mind, I think it was like 15-20% of that actually goes on to Middlesbrough as well. So, Nicolas Jackson is not going to be a Chelsea player anymore. And look, I kind of said it throughout pre-season, man. Look, I got cooked in my comments for my kind of assertion of the Nicolas Jackson situation. It was never about saying that he didn't look good, and, I 100% agree that, like, when he came on in pre-season and stuff, he looked like he connected play together, and that's all fine and good, but we needed strikers, really. We needed, other options of strikers, and ultimately, when it came down to those moments, he was pulling shots wide and his finishing wasn't exactly what it needed to be. We have a litany of players that can play in that half space. Morgan Rogers, Estevan Willian, Giovanni Kenner can play there. Obviously, Cole Palmer looks like an absolute beast at the moment. So the truth is, Nicolas Jackson was never going to play wing-back, was he? So the truth is, in terms of being a striker, I just don't think he showed enough to Xabi Alonso. And, with obviously us bringing in Danny Welbeck, he's going to get some minutes. And, Omega has been injured for the majority of pre-season up until now. Looks like he might play against Luton tonight. But he was scoring in pre-season before he got injured as well, and Xabi Alonso saw enough from Emmanuel Omega in those behind closed doors games to say that we don't want to loan Omega out, we want to sell Jackson. So, look, it just is what it is, man. Nicolas Jackson to Aston Villa. I think that probably suits him more as well, to be honest, because he's going to get game time. Like, Ollie Watkins to Al Hilal looks to be a bit of a thing. They're really revamping their team at the moment. They've sold a lot of their really good players, but they're bringing in a lot of fresh talent. And Nicolas Jackson gets to be part of Unai Emery's rebuild, right? And Unai Emery and Nicolas Jackson have worked together before. So it's going to be interesting to see how well Nicolas Jackson gets on at Aston Villa. And just to drive it home, Chelsea Dodgers posted this via Matt Law. Nicolas Jackson is travelling for his Aston Villa medical. And, this is kind of important because the other thing was the Atletico Madrid outright thing, right? Because there was some crazy news coming out, day before something, saying that there was interest from Chelsea in Julian Alvarez, and maybe that was part of the conversation that was having around Nicolas Jackson, because they were really, really interested in him. But I didn't really rate that, to be honest. It's like, why would you do anything to upset the harmony of João Pedro as our number one striker at the moment? You just wouldn't, would you? So, guys, this is it. Nicolas Jackson. There's been good times. There's been difficult times. Obviously, there's been dramatic times with going to Bayern Munich and planes can't turn around or whatever it was. I do genuinely think there is potential for Nicolas Jackson to go on and become a decent Premier League striker, especially at a team like Aston Villa. But do I rate him over the half-space players or João Pedro at the moment? Absolutely not. I think, our attack looks fire at the moment. I'm really, really, really excited about it. And yes, it would have been nice to keep a player like Jackson for depth, but when you've got 65 mil coming in and we've still got other areas of the squad to fill, for me, it just seems to make the most sense. And guys, if you've made it this far into today's episode of the Stamford Sync, please do me the distinct honour of liking and sharing the video, subscribe to the channel, or just roast me in the comments, whatever gets you through your day. Right, and we've got more strikers to talk about, so let's have a little look At Marc Guiu, Pice posted this via Fabrizio Romano. Marc Guiu to Napoli is quite advanced. Imagine Chelsea could make more than 115 or 120 million for 3 strikers that are not crucial to Chelsea. That's important to mention. So we're actually going to get a little bit more into Marc Guiu at the moment, but I just want to talk about the wild selling that Chelsea keep doing, man. Like, we can finish 10th and nearly make 400 mil in a window. It's absolutely crazy. So, you know, the strikers that we're talking about, we sold Liam Delap for up to 50 mil for to Nottingham Forest. Like I say, we're going to get into that at the end of the video. Nicolas Jackson to Aston Villa for 65 mil. That's 115. And we're going to get into the numbers in a minute, but it could even be more than 120 million for Marc Guiu. So look, before we get any further, that's unbelievable sales, isn't it? Like, you know, what's the top clubs struggle to sell at the end of the day, you know, because there's selling clubs and there's buying clubs. Manchester City, up until recently, were never selling their players for huge amounts of money. Arsenal never selling their players for huge amounts of money. You know, Man United have always been a bit bad at selling, to be completely honest. It's definitely not their forte, but they are good at spending money. You know, yeah, they paid, what was it, like 70 odd mil for Rasmus Højlund, and, you know, Anthony as well. When, you know, Anthony went out to Real Betis, was it, for like 20 mil with an 80% sell-on clause, and he's probably just not going to go anywhere, is he? So yeah, like, you know, props to Chelsea. The one thing that has continued over from the Roman era into the Blueco era is that somehow we're still phenomenal sellers. So that's all good. Right, back to Marc Guiu. CFC Daily posted this via Fabrizio Romano as well. Breaking negotiations are underway between Chelsea and Napoli for fee over 15 mil for Marc Guiu. Chelsea's asking price is £25 million. Chelsea want a sell-on clause. So again, smart business. I am not surprised. Like, is anyone surprised that an Italian club is trying to lowball us for a player? That's basically been the story of this entire window, isn't it? An Italian club really wants your player, but they don't want to pay for him. What a surprise. But at the same time, if we can get like anywhere between 15 to 20 mil up front, 5 to 7 mil in add-ons, something like that, and then you put in like a 10 or 20% sell-on clause, because you know that if Marc Guiu has a good season in Italy and one of the big boys coming for him, they're going to charge 60, 70 mil for him, because that's another thing that Italian clubs are good at. They don't want to pay for your players, but they want you to pay through the nose for theirs. Marc Guiu, a bit of a sad story really, I guess, because I think most of us are unified in the thought that there's definitely, like, because he's such a young player, there's definitely something there. I think he's only like 21 at the moment, do you know what I mean? But what the interesting thing about Marc Guiu that he offered that we just didn't really see from anyone else is the absolute relentless pressing energy. Unfortunately, he was still working on his sharpness and his clinical, you know, nature of getting to goal and stuff. You know, Conference League Marc Guiu so far is the best version we've seen of him. I think he got injured for a little while, and we didn't see him for ages, but he was never really being given opportunities. He was never trusted by any of the managers that we've got. The thing with Marc Guiu is it's basically a pure profit sale, so I wouldn't expect the negotiations to be too harsh for this one, because we are going to make bank, essentially. We bought him for 5 mil from Barcelona, and we're looking to get, you know, it'll be 15 to 20 mil profit, and obviously whatever the sell-on clause is. So look, I liked Marc Guiu. And I always like the young players. We all like the young players, don't we? But this is the thing about Chelsea's model, is like there's always young players coming in all of the time. We're going to get into another new one in a minute, not a striker. But my mind has shifted towards, and it's the same with academy players too, right? It's like I'm not letting myself get excited about Reggie Walsh or too much about Reggie Watson, although I think he's a phenomenal looking player. Shin Mayuka looks absolutely fantastic. You know, these guys are great. Subaloy and Nicole Jazuli. Ultimately, the chances of all of these guys getting into the team is almost zero. Do you know what I mean? That's the thing, isn't it? Like, you know, if you look at the academy representation in our squad at the moment, it's Reece James, Levi Colwill, and to an extent, Josh Achiampong, with not much outside of that. And that's kind of, you know, 2 starters, wicked. You know, I love the fact that we've got 2 academy players in our team. Josh Achiampong, a bit of a question mark at the moment, but this is just what happens with the young players. You know, Esteval, yes, looks like he's going to get into the team. Kenda looks like he's got a real opportunity to get into the team. So you do see it sometimes, but when you buy as many young players as we do, unfortunately this is going to be the story for a lot of them. And you can't not say that Marc Guiu is a success story, right? Because he was a low risk, high reward. In one way or another, he either turns into a good striker or you make profit on him, and the profit we're going to make is really good at the end of the day. So guys, let me know what you think about Marc Guiu. Do you think he should have been given the opportunity? Because he has not been in the plans at all since the beginning of the window. He didn't go to pre-season. He wasn't training with the team. The idea for Marc Guiu for this entire window has been to get him out. There was talks about whether it be a loan or a permanent. Evidently, it looks like we are going to settle on a permanent, hopefully with Napoli. If they don't, come in with like, we'll pay 8 mil for him and give you 80 million in add-ons over the next 45 years or something like that. Do you know what I mean? But it just is what it is. Like I say, I like Marc Guiu, but also I would like to see him go to another team to see if he hits that potential. I won't be disappointed anymore. You used to do this thing, didn't you? Like when you'd sell a player somewhere, like Callum Hudson-Odoi, albeit he never hit his peak when he was smashing him away at Nottingham Forest, and we sold him for 8 mil. It was like, oh well, we could have done with a bit of that in our team at the moment. But I just don't really feel that way about these guys anymore, man. It's like, I will look forward to seeing them develop. I feel the same about Liam Delap. Like, I hope Liam Delap becomes a 10 to 15 goal Premier League striker. It's one of those, isn't it? You buy so many young players and they're never all going to work out. And, when they move on, hopefully they carry on doing well. So, we're going to stick with youngsters, but we're going to talk about a centre-back that we're looking at. Pice posted this via Fabrizio Romano. Breaking. Chelsea advance on 18-year-old centre-back talent Honest Ahanor. The operation will exceed a price of £34.2 million, which is 40 million euros. That is at Di Marzio. So that's a big chunk for a young player, man. This looks to kind of be the Jeremy Jackon replacement, because obviously we were all in for Jeremy Jackon. They started wanting some really crazy money. And we were like, no, obviously Liverpool came in and said, yeah, we'll take that. And he's gone to Liverpool now. But evidently, you look at the fact that Mamadou Sarr is now on the sale list. We reported that a little while ago. Josh Achiampong's still a bit of a question mark at the moment. I actually think that because we actually nearly gotten rid of all of our centre-backs now, haven't we? Aaron Anselmino obviously looks like a good player, but the injury issues seem to be a bit of a problem. So Bluecoat are coming back in looking to reinforce the centre-back position for the future, which is what it looks like they were trying to do with Jeremy Jackon in the first place. So, who is Honest Ahanor? Should we be excited about him? It is what it is. He's an 18-year-old player. So, 18-year-old Italian player who is a left-footed centre-back. You can see there from his heat map as well. He featured on the left of a back three for the majority of last season. In the league for Atalanta, he started 15 games and made an overall 22 appearances with an average 63 minutes per game. Made the team of the week once, and he made 22 appearances in Serie A, 4 appearances in the Coppa Italia, and 9 appearances in the Champions League, scoring 1 goal in the Coppa Italia, where he got his best rating. So, I think the thing is, you look at the age profile versus those stats. Yeah, that's hella impressive, man. Hella impressive. So, is he the kind of guy that we should bring in right now? Like, no, that doesn't seem to be what's going to happen with him. But either way, you can kind of see why you're paying this much. We did a similar thing with Esteval William, right? You see a young player that's, and this is kind of not more impressive than Esteval, but it's impressive in a different way because he's playing in a higher league with more difficulty. We see Palestra, obviously was the best, best defender in Serie A last season. He's come in and looks really, really good. Hopefully we'll see him again soon if he comes back from his injury. But yeah, with Honest, it's one of those, I wouldn't expect us to buy a player like this and for him to come into the team right now. We do have a lot of defenders at the moment. I'm not even sure if we're going to go in for another centre-back, and that doesn't seem to be the plan for him anyway, because Chelsea Dodgers posted this via Fabrizio Romano. The deal for Honest Ahanor would include him joining a Premier League club this summer in order to develop and then joining Chelsea in June 2027. The player has already said yes to Chelsea. So I guess it's a direct replacement for Mamadou Sarr in the grand scheme of things. Maybe we identified Honest and was like, okay, so actually we think this kid's got more potential than Mamadou Sarr has, so we'll sell Mamadou Sarr and we'll bring this guy in instead. So if we can get him to a Premier League club, like I'm not sure what Premier League club it would be. Coventry haven't taken any of our players yet, have they? And we would love to see someone under. Oh no, maybe they have actually. But either way, like this is a Premier League club as well. So I guess there are still going to be lower level Premier League clubs that are going to be looking for centre backs. We must have identified one already because of this late in the window to be like, yeah, let's bring this guy in and lend him to a Premier League club with literally 4 days left before the window shuts. Just giving yourself a lot of work to do and a lot of money spent as well. I guess worst case scenario, Atalanta would probably be happy to have him back on loan for next season, and he's under 21, so it wouldn't take up one of the 6 international loan spots, which is interesting. Same sort of situation we've got with Jesse Derry. But either way, guys, this seems to be a Blueco signing, not necessarily a Xabi Alonso identified one. And look, I'm not surprised because I mentioned it a few times, albeit the plan for the first team seems to have evolved a little bit, and obviously we're focusing on bringing in quality and experience and talent in order to help us push on in the Premier League now. Blue Co are still, we've still got 6 sporting directors who have been twiddling their thumbs for a little while, and it looks like this is kind of what they're going to be doing with their time, identifying young talent across Europe and across the world in general, looking to expand the multi-club model, and ultimately try and bring in more talent for Chelsea to either integrate into the first team or, more than likely, raise and sell for extra profit. Now, the thing with this guy, compared to some of the other ones that we've done, 40 million euros, that's a bag, mate. That's a bag. Do you know what I mean? Compared to, to be fair, we've done this a few times. Like, we paid 17 mil for David Washington, and we've just sold him to Strasbourg, and I'm not sure how much it was for. Can't imagine we made much profit there. But then you get the other options, don't you? Like, we got Diego Moreira on a free from Benfica, sold him to Strasbourg for like 2 million. They've just sold him for 60. I think Chelsea have got, 20% in a sell-on clause on that? Something like that. So, look, honest, like I say, I'm just not going to get too excited about the youngsters anymore until I see them on the pitch, until I see them be trusted by the manager. And at the moment, yeah, I just don't think we need more young centre-backs at the moment, do we? Because as of right now, we haven't sold Mamadou Sarr, and we haven't sold Aaron Anselmino. So guys, let me know what you think about young Honest. Is he destined for the first team, or is he just going to be another asset? So finally, we're going to talk a little bit about Liam Delap, because it is official. We've seen the here we go, the picture of him holding the Nottingham Forest shirt. Confirmed, Liam Delap has departed. The Chelsea statement was the striker arrived at Stamford Bridge last June and was a member of our victorious FIFA Club World Cup squad that summer. He featured in 6 of our 7 games and started in 4. Last season, Delap played 41 times for us across 4 different competitions, netting against Barcelona at Stamford Bridge and Fulham away from home. And that's it, by the way. Is it? Well, I'll finish up first. We would like to wish Liam well in the next chapter of his career. Is it a bit of shade from Chelsea that they are highlighting the fact that he only scored 2 goals in 41 games? Because that kind of just shows you how good getting 45 to 50 mil for him is, doesn't it, at the end of the day? Like I say, tell me what you think in the comments. Like, is it a bit of shade from Chelsea there to have been like, Liam Delap, we bought him and he scored 2 goals in 41 games. So carrying on with that, CFC Daily included an interesting piece of information via Kieran Gill saying Chelsea included a 20% profit-only sell-on fee for Ipswich when signing Liam Delap. So basically what that means is they're not going to get 20% of the 50, which would be 10 mil. They're only going to get 20% of what the profit is, and the profit is a bit more, but in and around £20 million, right? So, look, they're looking to make 4, maybe 5 million to Ipswich, so that maybe kind of explains a little bit why we didn't just sell him for 30. Well, if we'd have sold him for 30, then, there wouldn't have been much profit anyway. But at the same time, Ipswich are getting a little chunk of the pie from selling Liam Delap, which is cool for them, it's cool for us, I hope cool for Nottingham Forest. I've got a very interesting guest coming on. I'm gonna do a collab with not a YouTube football creator, but a guy I know who is a YouTuber, and he's also a Forest fan. So I'm gonna get his unfiltered opinion about what he feels about Liam Delap going to Nottingham Forest, and that'll be out very soon, so keep it locked for that. And finally, just to wrap up, Liam Delap himself had very short words to say about his time at Chelsea, posted by Chelsea Dodgers. Liam Delap via Instagram. I want to thank everyone at Chelsea for the past season. Met some great people here. Wishing the club all the best for the campaign ahead. Fair. No shade on that at all. He could have said nothing. Do you know what I mean? He could have said nothing. But he's come out and he said, see you later. And look, I've been pretty harsh on Liam Delap at the end of the day. Like, just as a football, commentator or YouTuber or whatever it is, I look at Liam Delap and I'm like, yeah, you absolutely weren't the level. But it doesn't, reflect anything on him as a person. I'm sure he's a lovely guy, whatever. And I do still hope that he does well, because as an England fan, our strike force is ageing at the moment, isn't it? That's just the absolute truth. Our strike force is ageing, and I'm not 100% sure, who's next in line to take over from Harry Kane. Ollie Watkins is in his 30s. Ivan Toney's in his 30s. Dominic Calvert-Lewin is there, but is he the future of the Chelsea strike force? Liam Delap is young enough to hopefully revitalise his career and at least become an option, if not the replacement for Harry Kane, because it doesn't look like he's going to get that good, does it? But, hopefully we can be surprised. But either way, Liam Delap, I kind of hope he does go on to be this 10-15 goal a season Premier League striker, because at least then it will give us some depth in the England squad going forward in international tournaments. So, guys, I want to know what you think about everything that we have talked about today. Starting off with, of course, Nicolas Jackson for £65 million to Aston Villa. Let me know your unfiltered opinions about that in the comments. I'm sure a lot of you are going to be of the opinion that we should have kept him. Personally, I'm not too fussed, because I don't think he would have really gotten much game time, to be honest. you know, Danny Welbeck and Omega are both here, and we, you know, in the half spaces, which was the other option for him, really, because it doesn't look like we're going to be spending much time playing with wingers, which ultimately is the other thing. Like, I'm really happy with Morgan Rogers. You got Cole Palmer there, you got Esteval William there. You know, we've got options for those spots as well. And albeit he looked like he was good at knitting play together as a striker, I just don't think he showed enough. Marc Guiu, 15 million at the moment. Napoli looks like he's going to be on his way out the door, but I reckon we'll probably get that up to 20 with add-ons potentially, and also add in a sell-on clause. Honest Ahanor, let me know what you think about him. Is he, like I say, is he going to be another, you know, just an asset, or is it actually, have any of you guys seen this play? Have any of you guys seen him play? And is there anything about him that we could be interested about and maybe getting into the team in the future? Liam Delap's been reasonably nice on his way out. Nice one, guys. Thank you very much for sticking around until the end of the video. If you did, if you've got any more time, I will direct you towards this video right here, which is an excellent video I did with content creator Nina Christova about Xabi Alonso. We spoke for 50 minutes about Xabi Alonso, why we're excited for him, what we think he can bring, and what the potential is for Chelsea under the new manager. I hope you're all having an absolutely wicked day, and I'll catch up with you very, very soon. Take it easy. Peace.